Hi everybody, and welcome to Blackwood Engage Layout. Now, it's been a couple of months since I have uploaded a video. Apologies for that, but I have been really busy on the layout, starting to build some of the main structures for the new Helix section. It's a bit like landscaping in real life. Some of you will have probably heard the terms hard landscaping and soft landscaping. So the hard landscaping would be things like footpaths, steps, walls, etc. And then the soft landscaping is when you're putting in all your plants and grasses and stuff like that. And it's a bit like the same on model railways. What I'm doing currently is actually building some structures, and the amount of time that I've spent in building these structures is actually quite lengthy. So I'm going to try and make sure this video is not too long, because there isn't a huge amount to show you, although I've been exceptionally busy. So without further ado, what I will do is I'll turn the camera around and we can actually see the first structure that I've actually been working on. And if I zoom in a little bit, it's this scale scenes kit, which is the plate girder bridge. Now, there was a bridge here before, but the bridge had to be taken out because the track geometry that I've put in didn't suit the bridge. The bridge wouldn't clear the track, so I've had to build a completely new bridge. This is still a slightly kit-bashed scale scenes kit, because the bridge doesn't go across straight, it goes across the tracks on a skew, and that was actually quite difficult to do. Now, the bridge is not totally finished yet. There is still a little bit more to be done on the bridge, but we'll go up and I'll take the camera a bit closer so you can see the bridge. As you can see, it's been put, or it's an extension to the existing two bridges that were already there on the layout. So there was an arched bridge there, and then there was a scratch built plate girder bridge, and this is another form of a plate girder bridge. So the road surface is all complete, the pavements are all complete, but there is still some scenic work to be done and some more detailing to put onto the bridge abutments. The bridge itself is not yet fixed in place. If I reach over, you can see I've taken it. I can take it out. The one thing about it is the detailing underneath. If I hold that, hopefully you can actually see. These are called, I think they're called jackass arches. They're actually very cleverly done in scale scenes, and you can see all the rivets that would be there for the actual bridge. As I say, the bridge is on the skew, so as you can see, it's not straight, and that was quite difficult to, in actual fact, do. And it just simply slots back in across those two tracks. So that was the first kit that I was building. That took me a number of weeks to do. And then if we pan round, we will see the main kit that I've been building. So this here are the scale scenes arched retaining wall. I believe the kit number is R013A, and most of this kit sits on a section of the original layout that was never ever scenic. Most of that raised section there is actually the baseboards of the original layout that never ever get scenic. It's about the only bit of the original layout not scenic. But I had an idea in my head as to what I wanted to have here at the top of the first helix. So if I pan round, you'll see the back of these arched walls, and then you'll see a road bridge at the end, and then there is the helix. So the road bridge effectively acts as the scenic brake, and trains will either entrance or exit through that bridge, and they'll come into what is obviously quite a deep cutting, and then they'll obviously carry on through the scale seams bridge that I have in the front there. Now I've managed to get this scale seams kit, the top of it to be absolutely in line with the existing road bridge at the far end. If I probably just try to zoom in a little bit, we're going to go in, yeah. Now you'll see the pillar on the original bridge, and you'll see that the tops of this scale seams kit finished just absolutely level with the parapet on the actual scratch built bridge that I'd made a number of years ago. That was achieved by building a plinth. So you'll see at the bottom of the arch bridge, you'll see there's actually a small wall. Again, that was quite difficult to do because as you come round here, this baseboard where these tracks are coming up actually slopes down, because it slopes down towards the helix. When there was no structure there, you would have sworn that the baseboards were actually level, and I thought they were level, but in actual fact when I started to build I discovered that there was a very, very, very slight incline on it, which made things a bit interesting, shall we say, as I scan out. Now this kit, what you get when you download it, you get one wall section which has got 4 arches on it, and you get 2 ramps, 2 sloping ramps, a left ramp and a right ramp. As you can see, I have built 14 of these wall sections. They are time consuming to build. I would reckon each section takes around a couple of hours. By the time you've glued stuff to cards, you've printed it off, etc., you carefully cut everything out and then you start gluing it. But if you take your time, then you can get a really, really, really good representation of this style of retaining wall. In terms of cost, the actual kit itself I think it's $3.99 or $4.99, and you can obviously print it off as many times as you want. I did go through one printer cartridge, so if you add the printer cartridge in, which is about £30 odd, then you're probably talking about £30 to £40 to actually build that actual structure. Now on the top, I already know, or I think I know what's going to go on there. Metcalfe have recently released an N scale and a 00 scale kit of a retail park, or a building within a retail park, and I think that kit would actually sit very nicely along the back of the grey section there, which is just grey board. I think if I zoom in there, that's where it would sit, just along that back area. The front area would lend itself probably to a car park because it is a bit of an odd shape, it's a V shape. But that's my thinking at the moment. The actual grey board that sits on the top is not glued down, it actually sits in supports, so I can in actual fact lift that out so that the actual modelling can be done away from the layout. I can actually do it in the house. If I want to sit at a table in the house, I could do that, then bring it back out. Now you probably can't see it from here, but you can see the road bridge. That was a scratch built road bridge, which again I've used scale seams builder's yard. It's got blue engineering brick. It's really actually pretty good. I mean, it's just a scenic break. There's still to be the road to the pavements have still to be put in, and obviously on this area here we're looking at the back of that retaining wall, and you can see there is obviously a surface mounted point motor. This area here will be raised up, so that surface mounted point motor will in actual fact totally disappear under some raised ground, if you like, so that will very neatly hide it. In terms of length of time, it has taken me an absolute age. I would reckon there must be about 60 hours of modelling just to do or build these retaining wall sections, and then get them actually onto the actual layout. the retaining wall sections, I would have to add, weren't built in situ, they were built in the house. The small wall that it all sits on, that is actually one very large piece of grey board which was carefully cut in here to the shape of the V section, and then once that was done it was laminated with another 4 pieces of grey board to give me the actual height, which then allowed me to then start building the actual retaining wall sections. They could be built in the house because all I had to do was follow the curve of the actual wall, so I knew that every time I built a section I didn't have to run out and check it on the layout, that it was in the actual right place. Some people might wonder, well, how do you actually bend the sections? That's relatively simple in that it's a bit like Metcalf kits. The scale seam kits are technically modular, so the main part, which has got the arches on it, if you score the back of the card, because it's thick card that they are actually laid on, if you score the back of the card, you can very gently open or bend the card round enough to give you a bit of a curve, and as you can see, that's actually worked out quite well. I've also tried my hand at weathering for the very first time. Scale seams recommend getting some black and brown pastels, scraping that onto a bit of card and getting a big soft brush like an artist's makeup brush, and then just basically dusting over the actual walls, and that's what I've actually done. The camera probably is not picking it up, but I'm relatively happy with my first attempts at weathering these actual walls. I don't know if I can maybe just zoom in a little bit. I don't think it'll pick it up. All I could say to you is that these walls are darker than to put in the other infrastructure. I've started to put in cable troughing, and I've also putting in the catch pits. That's those small blue things there that you can just pick out. The camera's just picking out. They're obviously from Scale Model Scenery, and once that is all in, I'll start to put in some scenic grasses to take away obviously the brown baseboard. And the other thing which is going to appear on certainly this new out of surf kit are overhead catenary masts. I have actually purchased Dapple's NCAT1 off of eBay because Dapple don't make these anymore, I understand. So if I bring this into shot, maybe you can pick it up, maybe you can't. There we go. Oops, is that going to focus? Maybe not. Bring it up a wee bit better. I think you can get the idea. So these masts are going to appear. There will have to be some other catenary, overhead catenary put in using end brass, because obviously I've got some essentially 3 section track, obviously that's just behind me off camera. So again, that's something to be looking forward to. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be putting up any wires. These are just basically cosmetic to give the illusion. I've seen a number of layouts where they have just put up the actual masts, and it's absolutely fine. The fact the wires are not there is neither here nor there. So overall, that is really the work that I've been doing over the past 2 months. It is a lot of building. I think some people had wondered whether I'd lost my mojo in terms of the actual layout, but I haven't. It's just very, 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 very time consuming work to get this all done. And if I zoom out, you'll see how that sits in relation to the helix. There's the helix there, the tracks coming up, and then they'll come out round there, as we see a couple of heritage DMUs trundling around the actual original main layout. So what I'll do now is I'll stop waffling. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll run a couple of trains, try to get some trains coming up through this new walled section, and hopefully it will sort of set the scene. First of all, the last thing I should say is a big thank you to all my new subscribers. I have actually passed the 1600 mark, which I really never thought I would get there. So thanks for all the new subscribers who have joined the channel. And with that, I'll end this video, and I hope to catch you guys and girls